Da, 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 da.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's start right out. Hey, what happened?
Hey. Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Dean. Time for the program. That is James DiFiore. That is Ryan Lindley, and that is Lachlan Cross. We're all here for you today because we're good people. So we do keep you company for a couple hours in the afternoon. Got a lot to talk about, too. Tons of shit to talk about today. Big on gun control. Alec Baldwin's like, I don't know how the fucking gun went off. I have no idea. I didn't shoot anybody, so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Evander Kane and his gun control because his wife's like, yeah, he pointed a loaded gun at me. Here's a weapon, like an hour after he started playing hockey again. He's like, oh, there's video of me pointing a gun at my wife. Anyway, we'll get back to Evander Kane. We've got some anti-vaxxers to get to because they're accosting children. Attacking, really, is the word. They're attacking kids at vaccine clinics. So we'll take care of that biznatch today as well. And it's my pleasure. As I said on Twitter, I'll be their fucking Huckleberry.
Oh, yeah.
But before we get started, Lachlan told it.
Oh, we have some too. Ashley's
Is that the
hoarding the
confession?
box.
Is that the confession?
I have one
You did it.
regret.
What?
I have one regret. Want to guess what it is?
You didn't put two in your mouth at once?
Didn't get the toque?
No. This should have been a 20 box.
How fucking delicious
They're
are
not
Timbiebs?
good.
What you can't see, everybody,
They're okay.
is... No,
They're
don't
good.
be a snob, Lindley. You're being a food
They're
snob.
not good.
Yeah, you're being a fucking food snob.
Fuck
'Cause you're a
no.
chef and stuff, and you make your own rubs and sauces and fucking all the other stuff, pulled pork panini or whatever. You do all that stuff. You can't shit on these Timbiebs if you haven't had them, and especially if you haven't had the new ones, the cake waffle, the chocolate white fudge,
I
and
have.
the chocolate chip, and they're so good.
We tried them today.
I will say this. I barely got out of the parking lot of Tim's before I had about half of them in my face.
You know, I'm embarrassed to be a Canadian sometimes, and it's always surrounding donuts for some fucking reason. Do you remember when Krispy Kreme came out and there was like cars that were lined up for miles?
Yep.
And now you guys are like, you got parking lot, the Biebs, man. I love the Biebs now.
No.
Whatever. I don't know.
It's
No, I
not
didn't
about
line
loving
up
the
for 'em.
Biebs. It's about, I don't know what it is. They're
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
good. They're good. They're good. It's a novelty thing. Everyone's talking about them.
Yeah.
I had to get in the canoe.
Same here.
Yeah.
And that's why we ordered them this morning. I had an appointment this morning at the hospital, and Ashley and I went and we ordered. I said, yeah, give me the 10 pack just so we can try them. And I thought the one like birthday cake anything makes me just want to fucking vomit. And that was actually the best one out of the box. Like the rest of them were like that chocolate one tastes like it was like a film. It was almost like it was an undercooked piece of
Don't
dough.
listen to a word he's saying.
You shut the
Fucking
fuck up,
gross.
Lindley.
You guys are
Shut
fucked.
the fuck up. That
I'm
is
just
the
going to be
worst
a dick
take on
and
the
just
Timbiebs
never
I've ever
try them.
heard.
Ever.
You don't have
I'm
a
just never
palate.
going to try them.
You're wrong.
I like the sour cream chocolate chip.
Swear to God. Like I can't wait for them. If I can't wait for my blood work to come back and they go, the fuck are you doing? Like you almost died. What are you eating now? You know,
Look, we
like,
told you can eat anything you want, Ryan, but we didn't mean that.
yeah,
Let's
was where we
just
drew
point
the line.
out that I saw you raise a beer to your lips before we went live. So
Yeah, 2 days after walking out of the hospital, and
I'm
some guy
allowed to
going,
have. I'm allowed
"You're
to
full of
have.
blood clots.
Yeah,
You're
look, see,
full of
just
blood clots."
so you
Ryan, I told him
know,
not to
so
say
you know, we're not just fucking around. We do have them. I'm not just talking out of my ass. They're not good.
That's all.
Nothing that comes
James-
out of that place is good.
You know what's really classic? You guys held up your Timbiebs. James held up a bag of cayenne pepper.
That's true. That's right, I did. Because
Just
what are
nibbling
you?
on
You just
that for-
eating that? That makes sense.
I go through one of these like maybe every 6-7 weeks.
What the fuck do you
What
put?
do you put
2
it on?
liters of cayenne
Everything.
pepper
Apple
on?
juice?
I put it on
Really?
everything.
Put it-
No, not like
It's good
apple
for
juice,
you.
but I put it on
Not-
eggs. I put it like on every single meat that I have. But sometimes I make it into a paste or whatever. And then sometimes I even pill them, take them like that because it's really good for you. So
Oh, well, I found
You
out something
are-
new.
Wow.
Interesting human being.
You're a specimen.
yeah, you like Justin Bieber.
Now,
balls.
why is cayenne pepper good for you?
It's
I don't
supposed
fucking
to be good for your gut. It's supposed to actually
Is it?
it improves gut flora and
Yeah, and it's good for your metabolism and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So you like
All right.
lose weight, which is why Jimmy James lost like 60 pounds this last year doing cayenne pepper and not
Is
drinking
that when you
43
started
beers a
eating
night.
cayenne pepper, or have you always eaten cayenne pepper?
My dad used to put that shit on not that, but the crushed chilies and stuff on my eggs when I was like 9. Like I've been
did he?
eating spicy shit since I was a kid, like a
All
little
right.
kid. I don't
I
like
like
white
spicy.
food. Aside
I
from
like
sweets, I don't like white people food almost at all. Like I like Indian food. I like, Thai and shit. Like, of course I live in
Thai
Killaloo,
food.
so
You don't do a clubhouse sandwich?
no, I won't make one on my own or buy one in red. But
That's
I don't
a white-
dislike,
that's
I
a
don't
white-
dislike them. But
That's
I
the
think
whitest sandwich in the world.
my whitest meal
Clubhouse.
is the trucker breakfast. I fucking love it. I'll take it anywhere I go. Like New York
Eggs,
City is
bacon,
the greatest trucker breakfast
toast.
on the planet. Yeah.
hash browns,
Yeah.
corned beef. Yeah.
If it doesn't have
I-
home
I-
fries,
I-
it's not a real trucker breakfast, and it has some piece of shit melon on it. It's also not
I
a
like
trucker
that.
breakfast.
I like that. Can I ask you a question about your home fries? Because there's a lot of
Texas
confusion
toast.
in the world of the home fries. I love the Texas toast as well. Good call.
Yeah.
I don't mind a bagel with my breakfast as well. But
don't
let me
hate
ask you
bagels.
about the breakfast. Runny eggs or no?
No, I like over easy,
Okay.
or sunny side up with no snot.
I do basted, soft.
You do soft, so you like the runny. You like the runny
Basted.
yolk. Yeah.
Do you know what
runny
the
yolk.
base? Yeah,
Basted.
the
No,
basted,
You poach it. You
Soft
poach it in
it.
water.
Soft
That's what you're
no,
talking about. Right?
basted.
How do you baste an egg? I've
You-
never fucking heard of that.
Really? All you
Like
you
with a turkey
toast-
baster, like you like
No,
an eye drop.
You when you got it in the pan, you put a little water in the pan, and then you put the
Oh.
lid on it, and it steams the top of it and gets rid of the rooster jazz. Because I like the yolk, but I don't like the.
I don't like the texture when you do it like that, but if I can flip it pretty well and and it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad we got our breakfast.
What happened to Lindley?
He just left. I don't know.
Did he have
People
a
make
medical
breakfast.
computer?
I think.
He had a medical emergency.
He might have.
Fuck, don't say that. Shit.
Yeah, I have no idea. He let me just see if he maybe texted me and told me where he split to. No, nothing yet.
Maybe his doctor called and was like, "That Lachlan fella said you're drinking a beer right now. What's going on? Now you drink your bacon water, and we'll talk
Yeah.
tomorrow."
Anyway, we got a busy day today because we got a lot of stuff going on, and now we're over with the Timbiebs thing with Lachlan. He's had a few. They are delicious, certified.
I probably
Everybody-
won't buy them again, but I had to do it.
Yeah, of course you did. Good for you.
Right? Like, I mean, I've become susceptible to advertising in my old age. I don't know why.
You
Like,
just
I've-
justified the 20 million to Bieber just by saying that statement. I had to buy them. I had to do
I've
it.
always been, well, you know what? It gets worse. Like, there's people selling the hats in the United States, like the Bieber hats and stuff. Like, in that, they'll get a couple $100 for a toque, right? That's why they're charging $30 for a toque at Tim Hortons when you go through the drive-through.
I know we
30
didn't.
guys here in
I know we
Ontario.
didn't plan on talking about this, Dean, but I gotta say, like before, when the pandemic was happening, and even up until just like last week, I was thinking that celebrity culture would take a hit. Like the Grammys, or sorry, the Oscars and all that. The audience numbers were down, and I was kind of hopeful. And I feel like Justin Bieber and a couple others are like these instruments to get celebrity culture back on its feet or something. And I hate it. I just can't. I just don't
I think
like
you're
it.
maybe
Celebrity?
reading. I think you're
I
reading
probably
a
am.
little too much into the celebrity
sure.
culture. I think what we have here is a case of a business called Tim Hortons that can't
Yeah.
keep employees, make shitty food. It's on the fucking down low, and they're like, we need a fucking bucket to bail the water out, and they're like,
Mhm.
Timbiebs, let's get to Timbiebs, and fuck, good for them. It worked. I'm all in. I
That will
can't
work.
get enough of the shit. I was like I said to you yesterday. I was just shoveling those
Yeah.
holes in my mouth, like on the way home from
They have
work.
to do something
Back
to
and make it
offset
home.
the liquid shit that they fucking
Yeah, that
serve
is
as
true.
their coffee.
It
It's
is
really
a terrible
awful.
That's the other thing that I will disagree with you on. I mean, like let's just put so coffee I put in categories, right? Like
Yeah, me too.
I have beans at home. I grind beans. I make a Bodum French, and I love that coffee. If I could do that at work, but we don't have I'm not set up for it at work.
Yeah.
You need to boil water. I don't have a stove.
You can't Bodum your coffee at work because everybody will make fun of you.
So-
And it's like, look at that guy
Where's your
doing
bow
the
tie?
French press. Ooh, Lachlan Cross.
Yeah,
is so
exactly.
fucking fancy.
So I like
Fancy.
that. And if I'm out somewhere nice and I know that that somebody is actually going to give a shit about how they make the coffee, I'll spend $4 or $5 on a good cup of coffee.
Totally.
No problem. But day-to-day life, going into work, running around, busy, a decent cup of coffee, a decent cheap cup of coffee is something that people look for, right? And I will take the McDonald's coffee over the Tim's every day.
Me too.
Me too.
Um,
Me too. Because it
but
doesn't taste like someone put a pixie in it
A&W,
or whatever
I'm
the
not a
fuck.
big fan of A&W. Like, I'll even drive past the dollar coffee, right? But it's in a pinch. If McDonald's, like 4 o'clock in the morning, when I'm driving up to the drive-through, quite often someone's taking a dump and they put a pylon on the thing and they're blocked, and then I got to go, or they're rebooting all the computer systems so I got to go over to the A&W, or I got to head up the road a little bit further to the Tim's. I mean, you're looking for convenience. I'll tell you, Tim's is not the worst cup of coffee in the world. It just isn't.
In the world. Okay.
Correct. It is not. It is
It's
not the worst
it's
cup
not.
of coffee in the
Here's the
world. But in
thing.
the world of coffee where
They're
you
not
can
trying
get
to be.
coffee from, well, yes, they are. That's all they've been doing. Now they're like, have a cookie on us and we'll send a kid to camp. Just come on in and try the coffee. And everybody's like, fuck the
Oh, they've been
coffee.
doing
I'll
that
just have the
forever.
cookie. And there's like, come on in and have some Timbiebs. And there's like, want a coffee? Everybody's like, no, I don't want your fucking coffee. The dark roast is edible.
It's okay. It's okay.
Everything else is crap. The coffee's crap. The sandwiches are crap.
Let's be honest,
my
the
opinion.
human beings that work there are often crap too.
And here's
Like,
the thing.
seriously.
They can't keep employees. Like there's this
No.
there's a hiring crisis. Tim Hortons are not even open in certain places. They're like fucking 24 hours. We can't even keep people for 8 hours. Specifically in Winnipeg, it's like they're fucking closing them all over the place. But the funny part about Tim Hortons is that there was a time when it was great. Everything they made was great. The sandwiches were great. The coffee was great. I remember looking at my
early
brother like
90s.
20 years ago going, what do they put in this that make it so addictive? Is it a chemical? Because I crave it fortnightly. I can't get enough of the shit.
Honestly, I think they have
and all of a
made
sudden, it's
something happen.
shit. Like everything they do is shit. So I look at the Timbiebs as like, okay, I'm interested. As a former Tim Hortons guy, I'm interested. Now hire people, treat them well, and make your coffee not taste like my dog's asshole, and we're in business.
You know
but
what?
the Timbiebs is a good little hook to get into people. I like
It was
You
when
know
the
what?
family sold it, wasn't it? Isn't
Yeah.
that when it started to go to shit?
Well,
When Ron
and I
Joyce
also-
sold it, yeah.
I think they also started to do a little bit of the, all right, how can we make this? How can we make more money? How can we make it quicker? Right now they have like a spot in the middle of in the middle of the city where they make all the donuts all at once, and then they pile them into trucks and they ship them across
Not
the
fresh.
city. Right,
Not
none
fresh.
of it's fresh. They're
I
not
didn't
doing a
know
lot of
that.
that anymore. So I
What the
think
fuck are all those? What are the 17 employees doing that are working at a Tim Hortons? What
Well,
are they
they're
all doing?
offloading. They're offloading the stuff that was cooked somewhere else to put it in the microwave at that location.
and
Then
they're-
take the
and
apron
they're
off, you
working-
poser.
They're working. Honestly, man, they're probably working the drive-through, which is
Oh, yeah.
like nonstop.
It's a failed business model.
Mhm.
I don't know. Anyways.
I used to go to the Tim Hortons at the corner back when I had a morning show, and I was like at 3:00 in the morning or at Tim Hortons, and it invariably there was always the guy with the white suit on, the white. He was the cook in the back. Remember that? And you'd
He was in the
smell it in the
bacon.
morning, and he was baking, and it was like, and every one of them just looked
So novel.
significantly more miserable than the next one too. Like they all looked like anti-vaxxers. The cooks at the old Tim Hortons or the
Dude,
chefs.
There's a
at
lot
the
of
old
shit
Tim
with
Hortons.
restaurants back in the day. Like I remember Harvey's. There was always this lady in Harvey's. Whenever I walked in, I'd look down this like little hallway that would go to the kitchen, and there was a lady at the end of it, and she was either doing one of two things. She was either peeling potatoes or cutting up pickles. And whenever I'd see her and she had pickles, I'd wander up. I'm like, can I get one of them pickles? I'd be like 8, and she'd hand me a pickle, I'd come back. But now it's like the pickles are probably fucking made in like Uruguay, and then they get cut in Pasadena and then get shipped to fucking Edmonton. And like, you know, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the best restaurants are like the employees look like they serve time. We go to a restaurant and the woman there looks like she killed 3 people in the 70s. And she's
Turns
mad
out she
at
just
you
worked in a cafeteria for 20 years.
before she got there. Before you get there, she's mad at you while you're sitting, mad at you while your meal's being prepared, and mad at you when you're leaving. And you're terrified not to tip her because she's going to follow you into the parking lot and shit kick you. Right. And then probably find your kids and beat them too.
Sounds
like
a great
that's
place.
that's a good restaurant. I always have the best eggs in those places.
Yeah, it sounds like I'd love it there. It sounds like you just described the worst fucking restaurant in the world. A lady that follows you into the fucking parking lot to beat you up for not
because you tipped her 5%.
Yeah, but then you can just be like Chris Maltasante and Paulie Walnuts and just kill him.
Here's
a
question.
Kill that
Here's a question before we move on.
Sorry,
What
boys.
do you tip? What are we tipping these days? What are we tipping?
I'm
What are
a
you clocking in at,
15-ish.
Locking? You have 15, Jamesy?
I haven't fucking had to tip anyone in 2 years, but when I did, it was usually 20.
Okay, 20. Lindley, what are you tipping these days?
For like food stuff and shit.
Yeah.
Usually depends. Like 20% usually is the bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
Yeah.
I worked in restaurants
He's
for
at
years.
15%.
It matters so
James
much.
is at 20%, but doesn't go out. You're at bare minimum 20%. Last night, or a couple nights ago, I had pizza delivered. I gave the guy, it was like one pizza. The pizza was like $19. I gave him 25, and he looked at me like I'd just done something wrong. And I was like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" Just keep going. Plus, there was a $3.50 fucking delivery charge.
Yeah, the delivery charge. Yeah.
Okay, so
You give
I'm
me
a 20% tipper at restaurants. What are we with delivery? Locke,
10.
talk to me. 10. Lindley.
Tops.
I'd say whatever the minimum one in, like on the machine is usually 15.
Yeah, I love how they do that too. The minimum's now 20%.
Hold on. Do you tip your
James?
cabbie?
No.
No, never tip a cap. But for pizza, honestly, after I go through the charade of seeing if they got there on time so I can get it free or not, I usually just toss them a toonie. I don't really care about pizza.
You are the worst.
They're not waitresses.
That's
They're not
pretty shitty.
servers. They don't make $7 an hour.
Yeah, but they come
plus
from
tip.
fucking miles away to bring you your food. They don't come from the kitchen like 20 feet away. They come
Work
from like
hard, buddy.
miles
lot of
I
away.
them
worked
just
hard. You work
working
hard.
for
You fuck.
A lot of
You work hard. You work hard.
See, there's another time I had pizza delivered and I tipped the guy a little bit, but the delivery charge was $5. Like they charge you now. They just fuck. Here's your delivery charge. It's $5.
That's his tip.
And then
Because
I'm
half of that
not-
goes to him.
I said, I'm not tipping you. And he's like, why not? And I go, well, there's a delivery charge there. And my order was like $12. So I can't tip you and double the price of what it was that I just ordered because I just ordered like a $12 meal. You want me to give you $24 for a $12 meal? That makes no sense. And he's
Yeah.
like, you know what he said to me? It was great. I laughed after he left. I'm like, there's the guy. He's like, it's your funeral.
Wow.
You know what?
What?
And
Can
then
I
I'm
give
looking
you-
at the food going, what do you do to it?
When I give you a tip, don't tell them you're not tipping them. Just hand them what you're going to hand them and then shut the door.
Dude,
Then
I
you don't
tipped
have
him.
that awkward exchange.
No, but it was over. The door was closing. He's like, excuse me, when he looked at the fucking receipt. And I'm like, the
You
delivery
opened the door
charge is
again?
on there, Ace. You got paid already. Plus
Oh,
your store.
so he
is 2
engaged
blocks away.
you.
Yeah, that's right. He was
Oh,
shitty
then-
about me
then
not
it-
tipping him.
Your
Then it's
funeral.
then
That's
it's a
brutal.
Fuck you. Then it's a fuck you.
Did
Then
he look
I'd
at the
follow
pizza
him
when
to
he
his
said
car
that?
with a bat.
Do you
You
go like
better
this?
get in your
Oh.
car fucking
funeral,
pronto because I'm going to start breaking lights out of your car.
Van City in the comments asked, he says, do you tip on pickup? Now that was a thing when COVID, when they first started locking the restaurants down. Did you guys ever do that where you tip like the kitchen
Never.
staff?
Curbside.
Never.
I do.
Like
Never.
curbside?
I
I do
never
too.
tip.
Yeah.
I don't know
10,
who's worked.
10%.
Ryan, you've worked in the restaurant business before, right?
Yep.
I did.
I've worked in the restaurant business probably for a decade of my life. The COVID really exposed like the flaw in the restaurant business. The business model is so fragile. It is so completely fragile. The way the servers get paid almost nothing, but then they end up making like in a decent place, like maybe $25 an hour or something like that, depending. Right. The back of the house, which is where obviously I worked. You know, I was like usually the head grill guy or something like that. It was never a chef or anything, but I was a good cook. I was like getting paid back in the day like $12 an hour or whatever the fucking minimum wage was. You work like your blood, sweat, and tears. The overhead is insane. All that COVID did was a favor. We have to start reinventing the restaurant business because
like they do in Europe. Like in Europe, they don't tip anybody. Like there is no tipping in Europe. I think it's a great system, and they actually pay them a living wage. Like, why don't we just do that? Charge us a little more for the food.
Have you guys read Kitchen Confidential?
Oh yeah. 3 or 4 times over. That's a great fucking book.
That I'm not even into the restaurant business or cooking or anything, and not only I loved his show as well, but I was blown away by that book. That book was an eye opener.
Yeah, you get like an insight into it, right? When you read it, and he's such a great writer. It's all stream of consciousness stuff, and he like talks about his addiction, and he talks about how kitchens really work. And
that's what I remember from working in the restaurant business. Everyone behind the house was a drug addict.
Everybody.
Yeah,
especially the really good ones. But no, back to the picking up. I never tip when I pick up.
Never, eh?
And I get offended actually. Like when someone hands me the fucking machine back to put my card in, and it's like, which tip would you like to pick for them doing absolutely fucking nothing for me? 15,
they made
20,
your food,
or 25. Of course they made their food, but they got paid to make my food. I paid the delivery guy to bring me my food. I'm not a dick about that. But I am a dick when I show up and do all the rest of the work other than the cooking of the food, and I go get the food. I'm like, you know what? You didn't do it.
You make exceptions.
I'm the same way.
You make exceptions, though.
You know what? Hold it. I almost asked for a discount on my last pickup because I did all the work. I'm like, you're gonna have to take 20% off because I came to pick this up myself. And they're like,
if I get bad service, like if I'm in a bar, I will tell them. I will tell them that I'm not tipping you, and here's why: because you are a total cow, and you shouldn't be doing this, or you should have called in sick today because you were just a complete bitch. And I'll do it loud, and I'll do it in front. I've done it more, and my wife.
Are you calling people sows and cows?
Do you do that to get out of tipping, or is
no?
Thing?
I do it because I feel like it was I put on this planet to tell people the truth. It's one of my flaws.
Do you then never go back because
I've only done it a handful of times, and my wife. Right? The one time I did it, my wife was like,
"You're a jerk."
My wife was like, she was trying to get the coats on the kid and get them out of the restaurant really quick because I'm standing there waiting for the woman. I'm waving
because you're a public embarrassment, like yelling at the fucking server.
But there is an exception,
the server, I'm
though.
like, hey, I want to say something to you before I leave. I am not tipping you because you are a fucking bitch today. Wow. And this is right in the middle of the restaurant. And she's just
That's
like,
exactly what an anti-vaxxer would do.
Then the rest of the staff starts turning on me, and then they're telling me off, and my wife's just like, oh my God.
Yeah. I'm such a non-confrontational guy that if my food, like I'll send stuff back if it's like egregiously fucking bad, like something's wrong. But if it's like bad just a little bit, I almost feel guilty and bad for them. Like, oh, you guys must be having a bad night. I'm horrible. Like I grew up with somebody in my family that was one of those people that would pluck a fucking hair out of their pubic region and put it in the food just not to pay the bill. And I just can't be that guy. So it's I'm the complete.
You're related to James.
I would never do that. Honestly,
how often were you doing that?
Other people's
were they?
Anytime? No, that it was one of those. It was somebody that like a family member, and it was as I got older. It's like I'm not going out to dinner with you any.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah,
in fact, we're not related
in the heat of the moment, like if you're in a restaurant, you get bad service. I'm like you, where I know that if it's a good server and the food is shit, the server didn't make the food.
That's it.
So I'll tip the price of the meal that they take off. I'll be like, hey, listen, the price of the meal is $20. I'll give you the $20. I am not an unreasonable tipper. I really am not. I try to take everything into consideration.
Yeah.
But picking up and tipping is the dumbest shit I ever fucking heard in my life. Like Clay Nagy comes in, he's like, I always tip on pickup. I'm like, you're making us all look bad. Everybody at one point in time right now needs to stop tipping for takeout.
Except when, like, we lived in the beaches before we moved up here, and there was this dude who moved, like he came out of retirement. He was an Indian chef, and he came out of retirement. And he opened this place called Cinnamon. I don't know if you ever went there, Dean or Ryan.
No.
But it was in the beaches. It was there for like 4 years. It turned out this guy was this dude that used to cook inside like delegate dinner summits and shit like that in New York, not like the silver pans, but like the table seating and the fancy stuff, to like the Queen and like Bill Clinton. And he just retired, moved away from New York, and opened up this restaurant quietly. And I got to know this guy like when I used to pick, because the beaches are horrible for restaurants. So I tried everything that opened up. This place was magical. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's just like, oh, here, look. And he pointed up at the wall, and there's all these like newspaper articles of the chef that served these dignitaries and the Queen and all this stuff. And it was dope. And it wasn't that expensive. I would tip that guy like no other guy ever. I'd give that guy like $20 on a $50 meal.
He's not there anymore?
No, he just closed. He sold it to somebody else. I went there, not even close to being the same. I'm like, you need to take that fucking name down off the wall.
I know. It's
My
always
grandmother-
a tough one when your favorite restaurant changes hands, and you're like, I used to come here all the time, and then the next guy's like, we took one slice of meat off the clubhouse just to save a little money. And you're like, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, fuck this place. Is fucking burn it down.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
ran into
your
the
funeral.
chef. He didn't move away, right? I ran into him later, and I was like, dude, like, I don't know what happened. And he's like, well, you know, I just wanted to say, I just didn't want to do the work anymore. He's like 70. And I'm like, why was it good for like 6 weeks? Because I used to get it once a week. And then it just wasn't good ever again after it changed hands. He's like, because I froze a lot of the sauces.
My
so all the
grandmother
bases were there for the other guy, right? So
my grandmother, she passed away at 91, and I remember years ago we went to dinner, and this is when I was quite young, and my mother and her used to get in fights at dinner all the time, and I don't really remember paying much attention to it until this one time where it got quite loud in the restaurant between my mom and my grandmother. And what my grandmother used to do is, because she was always mad at the bill, she grew up in the Depression, and she was always angry. So if there was anything even remotely to complain about, she would start stealing stuff from the restaurant. So she'd be jamming shit into her bag, glasses, sugar. If it wasn't fucking tied down, my grandmother was leaving with it.
I love her.
She'd pay the bill, but she would steal, like, that bill was too much. And my mom hated it because my grandmother was always stealing when we went out for dinner, and she always picked up the tab. So when my grandmother died, we went to Kelowna
in a shootout.
And we went to Kelowna, not in a shootout. She passed away, and we had to clean out the house. And I remember we were going through stuff, and literally she was a hoarder too, a bit of a hoarder. So we had I think 3 or 4 dump truck loads of shit to the dump from her place. It was insane. And there was one shelf above her, like that was the entire, like it was like 10 feet, 12 feet, and the top of it was just packed with shit from restaurants. She was doing it for years. Sugar containers.
She's got enough to like outfit a new restaurant.
Like every piece of cutlery in the house didn't match. Like if it wasn't tied down, she had those. She had like 40 of those napkin containers. She was always ripping stuff off from the restaurant.
She had a big purse.
She did. She always had a duffel bag purse too,
like a hockey bag.
Go in, yeah. My grandfather used to steal from buffets all the time too. Same thing. He'd bring a baggie and he'd put all the. He's like, "We paid too much for this food. You got to put it all in the bag." And I'm like,
"Bring the food home."
Embarrassing, yeah. It's a buffet.
Meanwhile, he's driving up the price, probably, right?
And he's like, "Oh, it's for the dog." I'm like, "You don't have a dog, Dad. You're fucking just stealing food at this point.
I'm the
That's
dog.
all you're doing." Yeah. Anyway, from people that can't afford to eat to those who can't, have you guys seen these anti-vaxxers that are protesting these kids' vaccine clinics in Whitby? 5 to 11, as you know, here in Canada, Pfizer's got the vaccine. It's engineered in a small enough dose that you can legitimately shove it in the arms of your kids. No harm, no foul. Everything's going to be okay. This came to my attention through Ryan Lindley, as a matter of fact. And the guy that put out the video is another guy that we work with. His name's Johnny Fondue, maybe the greatest Twitter handle of all time.
So funny.
Johnny Fondue. And I got to give him credit because we totally stole his video today and put it out, and we're going to use it to talk about it. But I'm going to play a couple of clips for you. This is the first one, and then we're going to talk about what's going on in society, because I'll be these cocksuckers, Huckleberry. I promise you that. These guys are, and have a look at the quality of individuals standing outside this Whitby Smart Center, and
this is
the
where
whole
kids
goal,
are going to get vaxxed.
Yeah,
Just
right in
just
front of a vaccine clinic. You
Because
betcha.
they have to
that.
go to special clinics, right? The
Yeah.
kids
Betcha.
do?
Yeah, they
In
sure
Alberta
do.
too, they it's not just the normal vaccine. They got to go to a special clinic, right?
Well, you can go anywhere, but they've set up special clinics for kids that are engineered for kids with nicer people who don't look at dumb adults and go, just fucking go get your shot. They're like, come
They
on
don't
in,
want
have
the
a shot, everything should be
vaccines to
fine.
intermingle either. They don't want to accidentally give a kid an adult vaccine.
An
That's what I
adult
meant.
dose.
Is that
yeah.
what it is? Oh, that
Yeah,
makes
Because
sense.
it's a half dose, right? So
Yeah, smart, actually. It's
Yeah.
really smart. Anyway, so this is the scene last night.
Better
We got 2
5G if
videos.
They get the full dose though.
Yeah, you betcha. And
only
imagine having
LTE.
3 kids that are vaccinated. You'll have fucking cell coverage for the rest of your
You'll
fucking
have
life.
like full bars in your house.
in the middle of the
full
lake,
bar.
it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the first video. I want you to pay attention to these disgusting, dirty, fucking trailer park
Oh.
anal sores yelling at kids
This
on the way
guy,
in.
this one.
I believe the correct term is fistula, by the way.
Anal fistula. Here we go.
Sorry, little buddy, your hockey career's now over. This is your glove. You won't play sports again.
Yeah, no problem.
Who said it?
He was the vacuous, vapid cunt that you just saw.
It's real. It's not a fable. Listen to the science.
So, yeah, listen to the science.
Listen to the science.
Yeah, it's so wasted. In case you missed it, what happened is the guy with the pedophile beard and the rest of the people that haven't washed in months are standing outside of a vaccine clinic in Whitby, and what the guy with the pedo beard was like, he's like, "You'll never play hockey again, kid." Kid walking in his hockey jacket. Another kid in his soccer jacket going in with mom and dad to get vaccinated. It's like, you'll probably die on the soccer field. That's another thing you missed. And then another thing you missed was when one of the ladies was like, "You don't understand, kids. Your parents are trying to kill you." This is literally happening. This happened yesterday. And it's happening all over the place. Like the fact that we got video from this is amazing.
Is
But
this illegal?
This
is
is
illegal now?
well, it's
Are they allowed
getting
to do
there.
this?
Yeah,
It's-
they're working on it.
Because of
According to
the-
Smart Centers, and I'll just put up the tweet because Johnny Fondue put this out. Follow him, by the way, at Eats Food 2. Hi, Johnny. This is an unfortunate incident occurred with our Whitby property. We're actively investigating with Durham Regional Police Services. Furthermore, we've authorized police to remove these cocksuckers. I just used that word from our properties in the future, should they choose to return. Then they also said, we've been supporting vaccine clinics across Canada, offering available space for free public health authorities. What occurred last night's unacceptable. We're taking action to ensure it doesn't happen in the future. Apologize to those affected by this disruption. How fucking money is that from the folks at Smart Centers?
I'm so proud of them. You know, like
Right?
it's so nice to see a corporation like that take a
Stepping
stand
up.
publicly like that and just
people
say,
are
we're not having
are
it.
scared to step up to them. I can't wait. I know I shouldn't be excited for the possibility of violence, but I cannot wait for the protest on Saturday, because I really hope that the owners of the West Edmonton Mall go, listen, if they come through those doors, you mess those turds up. I really hope that was the conversation.
And this is a little bit of insight on what happens. I don't know if it's every province, but I'm sure it is. I think it's a criminal code thing, so it would be Canada. But the police can't just show up to a mall and arrest somebody for trespassing unless they have a complainant that is actually a registered owner or a registered representative of the property, right? So like you can't just show up and lay a trespass charge. So what they've essentially said here is, we've issued Durham Regional Police a letter of authority for private property eviction for trespassing. So now these people are fucked like they can't just say, oh, you can't touch me, blah blah blah. They have blanket authority now to charge them with trespassing and throw them out.
I think I hate this topic sometimes because I know that those are the exact people that need to fucking come around in the end in order for all of us to be safe. And I hate that. It's a paradox, like we were saying the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking like, what should be done and how are we going to handle this? And I think like, I don't think they should be able to trespass. Maybe we need to put in some sort of like policy, like, like the Westboro
Tasers.
No,
Yeah.
the Westboro Church, right?
Bats.
They can protest things, but they have to be like a certain amount of feet away, and you can barely hear them at that point. And I think that's the kind of way that we have to approach this. I don't know. I don't like. I think it's for the entertainment value. Sure, it'd be nice to see a couple knuckleheads get knocked out, but the long-term forecast of our society gets worse the more we see that shit. And I don't know how to
like
fix it, you know,
in like rural areas. I don't know if it's like that where you are, James, like where you get water trucks to truck in your water for cisterns. What if we all just kind of like GoFundMe group funded like a water truck with a big hose that just showed up and just started
What
washing?
a fucking great idea.
See,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
what I mean,
those
like,
guns
It's
that
water.
shoot
It's
beanbags.
water, but I don't mean hit them. I mean just start washing the parking lot as a service. And then if you're in the way, you're in the way. Fuck, sorry guys, but we're washing the parking lot.
kind of a waste of water.
It is a bit of a waste of water.
Yeah, well, you know what? If it keeps that kid from hearing that shit ever again, I'm
What
down
about
for the
acid?
waste of water.
Put acid in it and spray it on them.
Not allowed.
No, just
that-
water.
Okay.
Imagine standing out in the sub-zero
Guns that
temperatures,
shoot
getting fucking
sandbags.
soaked.
Number 2, Daily News Podcast in Canada. ladies and
Yeah, that's
gentlemen.
right.
Authorizing water hosing protest.
How about
Yeah.
batons? Like
Batons.
And we beat them with batons.
Yeah. Or what about this? We just rip their arms off and beat them with their own
There you
appendages.
go.
Yeah.
What if
Okay,
we
let's just
skin
take
them
it.
Guess what
alive
I'm
and
hitting
make
you
them
with,
do
Carrie?
somersaults
Your
in
own
grass saturated by vinegar? Let's do that.
One person did get arrested yesterday. Do you remember the reporter Christina Tenaglia that had her entire news report interrupted by that crazy biatch? Remember Jody
Yeah.
Ledgerwood?
Is she
got
still
arrested
doing
last night.
reports on the street? Stop it.
Not
Doing
anymore.
more now,
No,
probably.
no. But watch this. This is fucking great. This happened shortly before the last video we showed you. This is Jody Ledgerwood, famed fucking complete degenerate lunatic, getting arrested. She recorded the whole thing, which is incredible because we can't put this out on Twitter unless she does it first. So good job, Jody. Watch.
Property. This is public property. Sir. I'm giving information. There's nothing wrong with giving information. Sir, I'm asking you a question. Have you done your job as per the Police Services Act and investigated the crime that's going on in there? Have you made sure that all of the people in there are giving informed consent to each person before they are injecting them? Have you done that? Have you done that, sir? I'm asking you a question. As a police officer, it is your job to investigate a crime. There is a crime that is currently being committed in there. Sir, I've done nothing wrong but share information. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm asking you, sir, I'm asking you a question now. Have you investigated the crime that is going on in there? I'm asking you a question. And I'm not trespassing under the Trespass Act. I am not trespassing. I'm not inside that building. I'm in a public parking lot. Why? Okay, Anita Kim. Why are you okay? Everybody, they're putting me in handcuffs because I'm asking questions. You can't put my phone up there. You really can't.
I've tried to tell her.
Can somebody grab my phone off the top of here?
I've tried to tell her.
Yeah.
Was there
She
violence at the end of that?
Yeah, there was a little bit. She got
Okay.
shoved in the car fairly hard.
Do you guys remember the adage that if you don't believe in protecting the speech that you hate the most, then you don't believe in free speech? If she is not standing anywhere that's on private property, if what she was saying was legit and she was standing on public property, she's fucking right. She's
not
batshit,
though.
but
She's on
right.
private property. She's in the parking
I
lot
don't
of the
know,
mall.
Yeah, she was. She was on
Okay.
these in the Smart
All right.
Center parking
All
lot.
right,
They
that's
own the
fine.
parking lot.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Then
So, yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, then she got fucked, and she got fucked on
I
purpose. And here's the
understand
great
what
part about her.
I understand what James is saying. The problem is we're all so over this that we're past the point of a conversation like that. I think that's where I'm at because I've been worried about this as well. And are we going to have an impact on that population, that percentage of the population that just isn't going to believe that,
We
even
haven't
to
been
the
trying
point.
for a long time.
Not at
We've
this
been talking
point.
about this for over a year.
Yeah,
we're past
We've
that
only
point.
been mocking.
I-
them. So
Yeah,
I
this is
don't
the first time
improve.
they've gone after kids, though, right?
It's not
Like,
the first time. They did that
well,
last
the first
summer at
time
City
that-
Hall in Toronto. Remember?
Yeah,
Like-
but like I mean, the first
12-year-olds,
time
yeah.
they've been close enough to go after like young kids that are getting vaccinated. Those parents took their kids. They were teenagers, right? Teenagers that went to get vaccinated. This is 5 to 11. These are kids that aren't even in fucking grade
gross.
1 yet.
Disgusting.
And they're walking in to get
There's enough
a
stress
public health shot,
in our
and they're
world.
with mom and dad, and they've got a bunch the trailer people who think fajitas are fucking hot dogs, and vice versa, standing there going, "You're gonna die! You're fucking dying, bro!" And these kids are like 5, and they're like, "I just want to get home and get my blanket
Yeah,
and watch some Paw Patrol." Like that's what's
scaring a little
happening here.
kid.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I want to be that guy. If I was a parent of a 9-year-old, 8-year-old, walking him into the clinic, and that asshole's out there telling my kid wearing his hockey coat that he's going to die, I would have walked. I want to think that I would have been the guy that would have walked up and punched him right square in the face.
You know what though?
Honestly, I'm so done with this stuff that I like. That's where I'm at. Like, I wanted to see somebody punch that guy out in that video.
But you
That's
know what
where
would be
I'm
a lot
at.
better, like honestly, is if you had your hands on your son's shoulders, you heard the guy say that, and you just give him a little squeeze and be like, "Some people are nuts, but it's okay. Some people are nuts." He's obviously.
Oh, I'm hoping a lot of the
And then you
parents are
walk in,
actually.
and then
father
you
walk up
because
and
I'm
beat
telling
the
you something.
shit
if
out
you-
of him.
Yes, because if your son sees you do that, I know it's a fun joke, but if your son sees you do that, it's not going to make everything better for him either, because that could go one way or the other with him. That could be like, well, he stood up for what he believed in and only used violence when it was necessary. Or
I
my
played
dad punched the
youth
guy
hockey in
out.
the
I can punch
70s.
the guy
I saw
out. It's
a
a
lot
tough
of
thing, man.
violence.
It's a balance. It's a balance.
I'm hoping the parents are having conversations with their kids before they leave the house
Yeah.
about the fucking crazy
wear a
idiots you're about to
Do an
walk
iPhone
in.
or
You
listen
possibly
to
may
music.
see.
Fuck it. Listen to music on the way in.
I have an alternative to that. All of that. The punching, the walking away. We need to impart some wisdom on our kids. These adults have brought themselves down to their level. Game on.
Yep.
Kids, if you're listening and you have a
Shouldn't be.
parent,
There's no
you have a
kids.
parent that's watching this show. If you have a parent that's watching this show, here are a few sweet comebacks that you can take with you to your vaccine clinic. That you can aim right at these kids, earmuffs, cocksuckers. Here's something the kids can
I don't
say
know
to
if
these
he had enough time for
anti-vaxxers on the way
earmuffs
in.
there. That was a quick cocksuckers on the back end.
That was. Here's one. Life's hard when your sister's your wife.
It's a good one.
Life's
one.
hard when your sister's your wife, bro. Here's another one. This is for the ladies. This is one you want to direct at female anti-vaxxers. Hey, lady, does whatever is left of your carpet match the curtains?
You just changed the word drapes. That's it.
Because they're going.
Did your mother have any kids that lived?
That's a good one.
Here's another.
It would be
Here's another
funny
one.
to hear a kid say some of this stuff.
It'd be
right?
incredible. That's why I'm giving this information
5-year-old.
out. This is good. You teach your 5-year-olds this, they're gonna fucking sail through life. Here's another one. Look, Dad. Living proof. Some humans are born rectally.
These
I don't
are
know
all
if that's-
kids safe.
I don't
Look,
know
Dad,
if that's my
An
favorite.
anus baby.
An anus baby.
That one's better.
Simple.
You-
This one applies to men and women. Go wash, dirt pig.
Dirt
Nice.
pig is good. That's the first
Nice.
good one.
Dirt pig.
Do you lip sync the Kid Rock with that mouth?
Last but not least, I like this one. This is a riff on an old insult that you directed at people's mothers for no reason. The best part of you is,
Oh, I know where
is
this is
still running down your mom's landlord's leg.
Oh. There's an addendum in there that really
yeah.
shakes that up.
Boom.
We should post
Boom,
those
boom.
on the webpage, right?
Yeah,
After
there we
you're
go.
done,
The
blog it.
DeanBlundell.com
Just
handy
for you
guide.
kids.
Yeah,
Boom, boom.
handy guide for kids.
Yeah.
I love it.
How
Hey,
did
lady, does what's left of the carpet match the curtains?
Supposed to be drapes.
What's left of the carpet?
I'm a fan. I'm a fan, Dean.
I know,
Yeah.
Dude, I know. I'm
Get
gonna
the
do a whole
message
book.
out. I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing good work here today.
I'm gonna do a kids guide.
kids
I'm gonna do it
book
on the
for
website.
anti-vaxxers.
It'll be up
We
there
need to
tonight.
rewrite. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but we need a rewrite.
Well, then dude, I came in hot with all the fucking great sayings for kids. You came in with nothing. You're just sitting there eating beef jerky.
And cayenne pepper.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a pepper mill right behind you. You got it all happen. Oh, some chocolate. Good.
Right.
All right, good. So anyway, I just think that's not a terrible thing to
I
do.
would have came in with something hot if you told me that you were doing this for sure.
All
Like
right,
the Kid Rock one was the best one out of all.
I like
anyway.
the Kid Rock one. That was pretty good.
It wasn't as good as the running down your mom's
baby.
landlord's
legs.
anus baby.
Anus baby.
These guys are all anus
Look,
babies.
Mom, an anus baby.
Fistula.
There's a whole bunch of
that's
hip hop
good.
lyrics like that.
That's
Your pop
that's
should have dropped
that's
you
my
off
favorite.
on the mattress. You know, that kind of stuff.
I think I would shit my pants if I heard a 6-year-old girl, little Brittany. Look, Mom, an anus baby. I think I'd probably shit my pants.
Me too.
Mom, is that one of those fucking idiots? I'd be down. I'd be like, I'd buy that kid an ice cream.
So leaving the anti-vaxxer community for a bit, something else that piqued my interest. Alec Baldwin is giving an interview tonight at 8:00. It's with George Stephanopoulos. And I was shocked by it because in the interview, I'll play you the trailer in just a second. Alec's like, I didn't shoot anybody.
So why are they even interviewing him then? He had nothing to do with it. What are we doing?
How's he going to justify this?
I don't know, but the trailer looks fantastic. Like, you got to fucking see this. If
I
there's
haven't
anybody
seen
that
it.
I haven't
knows
seen
how to-
this yet.
ABC
All I saw was a
and
still of him crying.
ABC and Alec Baldwin know how to tease a fucking interview. This is going to be electric. Watch this.
She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired. I mean, even now, I find it hard to believe that. It just doesn't seem real to me.
You haven't said much in public since that tragic accident. Why speak out now? I think the big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened? You've described it as a 1 in a trillion shot, and the gun was in your hand. How do you come to terms with that? It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger.
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
What did you think happened? How did a real bullet get on that set?
I have no idea. Someone put a live bullet in a gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property.
How do you respond to actors like George Clooney who say that every time they were handed a gun, they checked it themselves? Your emotions are so clearly so right there on the surface. You felt shock. You felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt? You said you're not a victim, but is this the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Yes. Yeah. Because I think back, and I think of what could I have done.
Alec Baldwin, Unscripted, the newsmaking special event, tomorrow night.
Anyway, so that's tonight at 8. It's not tomorrow night at 8 because that came out yesterday.
I have to take a shower. Are you fucking kidding?
Now,
Are you
nobody's-
fucking joking?
That's
Dude,
pretty
Thought,
bad.
James? Thoughts, James?
I don't even know what the fucking woman's name was. All I saw was a big PR bath for Alec Baldwin during that minute and a half or whatever it was. And I'm reminded of that. There's a joke. I think it was on Saturday Night Live. I think it was actually, the guy that just passed away, Canadian. Remember Vegas, gambled a lot. No, the comedian that used to be on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, Norm Macdonald.
That guy. Norm
Yeah.
Macdonald. I think
Oh,
it was
yeah.
him on Weekend Update where he was like, Magic Johnson said he lost $2 million in a bad stock deal, yesterday or whatever over the weekend. He said it's the worst thing that's ever happened to him. And it was like 2 years after he got HIV, right? And it was hilarious at the time. This reminded me of that because the man who held the gun that killed this woman, whose name I still don't know off by heart because that was all about Alec Baldwin, is dead. And is this the worst thing that's ever happened to you? Like, that was the most self-serving 90
Yeah.
seconds I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, it's amazing because when you watch it, it's about his emotions,
I don't
his
think I can watch it.
expression, how he's going through himself. I gotta fucking watch it, dude, because this is the most, as James pointed out, that is the most self-serving shit I've ever seen in my life. Her name is Helena Hutchins, by the way. That's the young
I'm
lady.
gonna have to work on that.
Who died?
Yeah.
No mention of her husband, no mention of her son, widow, lost her mom, no mention of this girl. And to your point, James, which is fucking fascinating, it's like, is this the worst thing that ever happened to you? He's alive.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's no way that he's trying to convince people that somehow the gun discharged when he lifted it or something. Like, what? I don't
Dude,
get
did you
that.
hear what he
What-
said?
what's
Did you hear
happening
what he
there?
said in the actual thing? He's like, no, I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I didn't shoot the gun. I would never point the gun. Well, then it was immaculate discharge, as I pointed out in a post today, because like, there's no fucking way the gun just goes off by itself as it's pointing right at the person who's
Maybe he
asked to
cocked
take
the hammer.
picture. No, because
You know?
she asked him to take a picture pointing the gun at her for the film and for the movie and for the photography, and they were doing this thing, and he's like, well, dude, fucking listen to it. This is the most incredible thing. He's like, I didn't shoot the gun. Watch this.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger.
No. I would never point a gun at anybody.
There's got to be some kind of an explanation for that.
I have a feeling that's
how
Someone
stupid
bumped
that-
his elbow.
This teaser is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's getting us all like, what the fuck are they talking about? Now we all have to watch and see what he's talking about.
I do remember when the story came out, there was a discussion about the fact that when the gun was handed to him, he picked it up and he moved it, and in the motion upwards, because there was a conversation about lighting. They were trying to get the lighting, and he was saying, okay, if I'm pointing this way or if I'm turned this way, is that going to be the better lighting? And then he took the gun and he moved and made a motion towards the way he wanted to turn in the shot, and the gun went off.
Oh.
So there's something in that it will explain what he means.
And
This whole thing is not because he's a famous actor. It's because he's one of the producers. It has nothing to do with Alec Baldwin, the actor.
He's in
look
trouble.
Look at the production value of this segment of the whatever it is that he's doing.
No kidding. This ABC thing.
This was like another producer called someone at NBC that he probably knows personally and be like, this is what we're doing. The PR firm says, and the crisis management firm says, we got to do it like this. Because if we don't, it's going to cost us $100 million because the movie's going to go like this and blah, blah, blah. That's all this is.
You know what? You know what's interesting?
Mitigating
about this?
liability is what you're saying. He's mitigating liability. Yeah, go ahead.
The whole conversation's interesting for me because I keep hearing totally conflicting information about sets and about how things are run. You'll hear one actor go, since Brandon Lee, this has happened. I've never seen anything. And then you'll hear another guy talking. He'll go, oh man, they fucking cut corners. It's a gong show. They got 19-year-old people in charge of the guns. There's guys getting drunk at night. Like there is so much opposite opinions about how the movie business handles weapons and
even
how
on
they
this
handle
set.
safety. Well, exactly. So it's going to be interesting because I don't know if you heard the George Clooney stuff because they actually mentioned George Clooney. George Clooney was talking about, like, listen, this is how things are done. And Brandon Lee was a friend of mine. And I always do this in every movie set I've ever been on. It's this, this, and this. And then the next guy that was like, he was a PA on a set goes, man, it's a gong show. You don't get any sleep. You're hardly fed. Like it's just shit pay, shit time, shit everything. I'm not surprised this happened. I'm surprised this hasn't happened 40 times in the last 10 years. Right? There's so much.
It's the live ammo part
about it.
It's the live ammo part that's really fucked up because apparently live ammo is just straight up not allowed on set.
Well, they were doing target practice
at
apparently,
night.
James.
Yeah, apparently at night they were getting drunk in the because
They
they're
were
in the middle
out
of
back
nowhere.
shooting at fucking cans, and then they would like
awesome.
run back and put the guns back in the cabinet that they were supposed to put them on. Like,
And there was
there you go.
there was talk about how they when they were doing close-ups or stills of the actual the gun, the recoil action with a live bullet looks better for film or whatever. It's like, well, who gives a fuck? Like, seriously,
Alec
who
Baldwin
cares?
clearly gave a fuck.
Apparently.
Right now, the woman's
But you know what?
dead.
Nobody's
I'm
ever
watching it though. I got to tell you, I will watch this.
And
I'm gonna
nobody's
watch
ever
it.
accused him of being like a really good actor.
No.
But when he
Or
stopped,
a
he
really
says-
good guy.
and when he stopped and he said, everybody loved her, and then literally.
He's
Just
like,
it's like
I need to cry here.
And it was
Although
that was just the
I
most
enjoyed his-
robotic thing I've ever seen.
It was the
Although I
admired
enjoyed
her.
his
That's when the
Trump on
PR kicked
SNL.
in, when he was just like, everyone loved her, they liked her.
Yeah.
They admired
It's so
her.
fucking
Like, that
sad.
was the part where
Somebody
I was like,
died,
how many people-
and that was like, who said it? The most self-serving 90 seconds I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It is. I hope the family doesn't have to be put through this. I hope they're somewhere where they don't know that this is happening and that they don't have to watch this, because
That's unfortunate.
that
but
was
that's not
disgusting.
true.
Agreed. You know, what I really loved about it too is when he fake cried, how he put his hand up like, stop.
She was someone
You gotta
who
watch
was
this. It's like,
loved
stop.
by everyone who worked with and liked by
can't do
everyone who worked with
Loved and liked
admired.
and
Watch this. Here it goes.
Here.
Oh, nope, stop. I can't. Stop. I need to get. Give me a sec. No, stuck.
I can do
Fucking
that.
dude.
Watch this. And admired.
And you notice they cut away to a still of her behind the camera there, instead of actually keeping it on him to watch him like play that out. See how long he can hold that and see where that goes afterwards, and what happens when the hand comes away and they're dry. Everything's dry.
Well, you won't see the hand come away. They'll cut to another shot.
Well, that's
He
what I'm
probably
saying.
came away in real life, and he was like, Diet Coke.
Don't look me in the eye.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
I think we
Speaking
got
of
a
don't look-
real chunk of. Did you see the TMZ footage where they were following him, and
Yeah.
he finally got out of his car? Him and his wife / girlfriend, whatever that is. She's quite a bit younger than him,
Yeah.
and the two of them are out there, and they've got their phones and they're recording. And he is like aggressive, and he's like, I don't know what you guys
You
want
old
from me.
Alec.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, like that. I think that's real Alec Baldwin. Pissed
Yeah.
off that he's got to deal with this. Pissed off that this is happening to him.
He probably
I don't-
thinks this is more of an inconvenience than sad, right? Like he's probably just super inconvenienced by the monkey wrench this is thrown in his plans
hope
to
not.
finish a movie and live a life and all the
But
other
he's
stuff.
also
that comes
the
with it.
only one that can be held responsible fully in a sense, because he's the actor that was holding the gun that killed the woman, and he was the producer of the film. You know, so like
Yeah.
he's
He's-
the guy.
he's-
Like
he's
there's
getting
no one
he's gonna
else
get
in a worse
screwed
spot than that
twice.
guy. You know,
He's gonna get screwed twice on this,
Yeah, he
because
is. I'm looking
he's
forward to it.
responsible for the conduct on that film ultimately,
that's right.
right? So
Speaking of screwed, did you see that Donald Trump's name appeared in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial today? You see that?
surprise,
yeah.
surprise.
Oh yeah. Donald Trump. Two things from the Donald Trump thing that happened today is that Jane gave her testimony, and she's like, "Oh yeah, when I was 14, Jeffrey Epstein legitimately drove me to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago." Like that literally came out today, and it was fascinating.
14 years
because-
old.
At 14, and then she's like, I don't remember what happened after that. So who knows who got to her? But what the funny part is like this touches off on social media all kinds of like angry people who hate the guy posting pictures of every time Donald Trump was with Jeffrey Epstein, like this time here with Ivanka, and I think that's burn victim Trump Eric. I'm pretty sure. And then these pictures, like Donald Trump has legitimately been hanging out with this guy, dating the same women, having sex with the same women. And a lot of these women are centered around Mar-a-Lago, which is fascinating. I am almost sure that it's going to come out. I'm almost positive. I mean, it's a matter of time that Donald Trump is going to be involved in this sexually at some point. But some fascinating stuff that's been happening. It was like James said this to us today. Ghislaine Maxwell warned Epstein's house manager not to look at his eyes. The court heard. I'm like, holy. He was one of those guys. Hey,
Like Manson.
don't look. He's so powerful. Do not look at him in his eyes. You
Yeah.
can't do it. Which is something like I think a lot of fucking people do. Like I remember one time we had Tom Cruise in the building when I was doing radio, and they're like, "Hey, if Tom Cruise walks down the hallway, we have to tell you are not allowed to look at him in the eye.
Not allowed to make eye contact. Yeah,
Cannot make eye contact with Tom Cruise."
there was
and then he
talks
went to
about
CP24,
stuff like
same
that with
thing.
Ellen too.
He's like 5'4".
Ellen's staff
Don't worry
were
about it.
not allowed
Be fine.
to actually say good morning to her, like they were told.
Mm-hmm.
And when the whole Ellen thing came out,
Yeah.
Apparently, they weren't allowed to make eye contact or say hi.
Dude, when I lived in LA, it was like 2009. It was this was in the spring or something. And I ended up hanging out with a lot of people that were like the brothers and sisters of celebrities, and they're hilarious because they're all drug addicts and they're all sad. But one guy worked on the Ellen show and told me horror stories. And at the time I remember thinking like, wow, that's such a departure from what her image is like. I can't even imagine it. And then and when it came out, that was really crazy. Did you guys know that like there was a deposition given in New York in like I think it was 2015 that a 13-year-old girl or a girl who was 13 at the time, excuse me, said that she had been trafficked to Donald Trump.
Yep.
At Jeffrey Epstein's apartment, I think it was at a party. Yep. And then that case just disappeared. I don't know what happened, but they might be talking, excuse me, about the same thing. Sorry, I got a nut stuck.
People are quite and I was having Bieber balls. Who's having?
That's right. That's powerful marketing. Jesus.
Wow. You ever watch Epstein? You ever watch Epstein in a deposition? You ever watch the videos of him and his fucking arrogance while he's being deposed? It's just that, man.
I can't remember the name of it.
I am untouchable.
But I think you're talking about that 4-part series that was on Netflix.
Yes.
And they showed quite a bit of the deposition in that. And it's just
hard to watch.
He's so arrogant and just he can do no wrong and nothing will ever happen to him. Nothing bad will ever happen to the guy.
Here's hoping that like his death wasn't quick. Like, right.
Yeah, I hope
it took
he got
some time.
I hope it took time. I hope you could see the light kind of dimming. I hope maybe there was some sexual assault the other way too before the guy who murdered him left the room prior to him dying, by the way.
It's a dark show.
It kind of is.
It's a little dark today, isn't it?
It's a very dark show.
To reference what James was talking about in Trump and a lawsuit, this is it. We've got it at deanblundell.com. Unsealed video and sworn testimony about Donald Trump's alleged violent assault of an underage girl in 92. Sure doesn't look good. Her name was Katie. And this trial is legitimately still going on. Like they're still chasing him down and everything that people can do. This again, it comes back to the thing. And I was talking to Amy Dash from League of Justice today, and we were having this conversation about why the fuck this stuff doesn't make it to air. It's simple, right? It's simple. It's because these guys they know they're fucked, so they do and throw the kitchen sink at it. Like Donald Trump has done. But in this trial, and talking to a friend of mine in New York, and of course, Amy Dash from League of Justice today, who's a lawyer and a writer, and she's like, it's coming out. Like, it has got to come out at some point over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
I don't know. I don't know. We've been down this road before with Trump. Like, what's going to come out? Something's going to come out. This is going to come out. That's going to come out. He's going to go to jail.
Big,
all this
though.
shit.
I'm still waiting for the golden shower video from Russia.
The piss tape. Yeah, me too.
The one thing that
I want to see some girl squatting over him, pissing on his chest.
This one's going to be big, though. I think we've got like there's no. She's got nothing to lose, so she's going to barter. And she's going to tell the prosecutors, "Hey, I'll tell you, I'll sell everybody."
It's hard enough to convict on a sexual assault that happened 30 years ago, as it is, and now you're trying to convict an ex-president of sexual assault from 30 years ago. It's never going to happen, ever.
Well,
you don't think so?
I don't, unless they have a videotape or some shit. I don't know how else they're going to prove this. He said.
And do we really?
Well, they did. They did have all those recordings that they took out of his safe. Remember, they have those. Yeah. Then we still don't know where they're on those
by now, buddy.
Who does? Sorry,
they're in Israel by now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, because Epstein, that was one of the great theories. I love Epstein's story in a sense, not aside from the child trafficking, obviously, but like his bio is hilarious in a way because there's all these people that believe that he's like he's not just a double agent, but he's a double agent known by both sides, Israel and the United States, and they just shared him. And that was the way they shared intelligence, was through this intermediary who had all these powerful people on tape doing bad things.
That is a common theory, right? With him.
Yeah.
He was the arms dealing thing was one. And then that he was actually a spy.
But also the science people, like the Bill Gates and I think it was Eric Weinstein, right? Like the guy who's like partners with Peter Thiel, the hedge fund guy that started Facebook's first fund financing, and all these guys that were like at MIT and all these really interesting tech guys. And he apparently he had no knowledge of it whatsoever, but he financed a lot of it and he wanted to sort of be at the cutting edge of things. And that's another piece of the the sort of the circumstantial
hung out
evidence
at
that he was about
universities.
intelligence agencies, right?
Did a lot of like dinners at big,
huge
educational foundations and things like that.
Yeah,
and people are getting like uppity about them taking money from him, but I'm like, I don't know. I always get weirded out when it comes to stuff like that. Unless he made money from child prostitution, give me your fucking money, dickhead. I don't care. I don't understand why that's a big deal. I don't know.
Well, the one thing about this trial that's interesting, and James pointed out, are we really going to get a conviction of a former president of the United States of America? Not really. But do we need one when we got the pilot of Jeffrey Epstein's plane on the stand yesterday going, I had this guy in my plane, Trump in my plane, here. Do we need it? No.
Yeah, but a big thing that pilot said was nothing happened on the plane. He never saw anything happen on the plane. He just saw
But now we've got somebody in front of the legal system telling. It's one thing to have rumors of it. Now we got a guy that was sitting, in a courtroom, sworn testimony, talking about who was on that plane and being flown around.
But you said yesterday that if you were on that plane, you were probably a pedophile. So now you're saying that we have to take the testimony of a likely pedophile to tell us that somebody else is a pedophile.
No, I think what was said is that if you're on that plane, the perception is that you're a pedophile. Or if you went to that island, the perception is that you're a fucking pedophile. And yesterday, Vikovsky, who's his pilot for 30 years, is like, I didn't see any of it, and if I did, I would have quit. I don't believe him. But he also said, oh, by the way, all these people were on the plane, and like he named them by names. And here's this is what he said: Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, George Mitchell, John Glenn, and Kevin Spacey. And it didn't take long for Theo Fleury to latch onto a conspiracy theory around this. Theo Fleury, NHL Hall. Was he a Hall of Famer yet? I don't even think he's a Hall of Famer. And he's not going to be a Hall of Famer after this tweet.
In the Hall.
He's a Hall of Famer.
This is awesome. So Theo Fleury, someone went and put Justin Trudeau on the plane just in the Chiron. And Theo Fleury retweeted it. So as far as Theo Fleury's concerned, he's telling everybody Justin Trudeau was on Epstein's plane.
Who do you take out?
I think I know why. Though. And this goes back to a rumor that we don't like to spread, so I won't say anything specific. But it's funny that he was put on the same plane as Kevin Spacey.
It is funny. Who do you take out, Locke? To your point, this old George
Mitchell
for favor of Donald Trump. Fucking again,
Lucky George.
It's amazing. It's even making its way into Theo Fleury's life. Like he's fucking
seeing that, and there's the defense right there. Like you really think that every single one of those trips and every single one of those people on the plane was going to fuck some kid? I don't think that was it. You got to remember, this guy was a big financial wheeling dealing guy, so not everything was about underage girls, so that's where the doubt is going to get cast. I think
you need the good guys to cover, right? You need to bring reputable people there that don't do anything, so that you can say, what are you talking about? Like, I brought what was that guy's name? The Iksat Perlman or whatever. That
Ishak Perlman, the
violinist or pianist or something.
Yeah.
I went to one of his shows once, but anyways, maybe they
Billy Joel actually.
Yeah, Chris Tucker probably went there to do a set. Seriously,
maybe he did.
It was probably a private event, and he did a set.
And he wasn't allowed to swear because of the age of the crowd.
That I don't know, but he was there to do.
I'm still in the. If you were on the fucking plane,
pedo.
Yeah, pedo.
Yeah,
we would hear about the little boys then, wouldn't we? Because Kevin Spacey was there.
I don't know.
I got a fun story about him one day too.
Oh, I know. What do you mean?
Now's as good as any.
Yeah. Do you want some Kevin Spacey music?
No, I'm not gonna. It's not my story. I guess I could tell it without telling who it is, but it was a politician that I know that was very, very. Kevin Spacey took a shining to him, and at an event in Toronto.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and this is way before. This is way before like even the rumors came out. And he told us for years. I've been friends with the guy for 20 years, and he told us for years. Yeah, Kevin Spacey's gay. Just so you know, Kevin Spacey is like, yeah, okay, whatever, Kevin Spacey. And then everything came out. And he's like, yeah, I told you.
I have a Kevin Spacey story too. Actually, you guys remember?
It's crazy. You have a story for every story we tell today. Continue, James.
I'm sorry, but I do. Do you guys obviously remember Usual Suspects?
Yeah.
Apparently, Kevin Spacey's role was even larger and they ended up like not cutting out that Baldwin brother as much as they wanted to, because Bryan Singer got mad at Kevin Spacey because Kevin Spacey stole Bryan Singer's boyfriend.
Oh,
So there you go. Said one of Bryan Singer's good friends.
Okay. Huh.
Wow.
interesting. So wait a second, Kevin Spacey's gay?
Since 1992, at least.
You know what's interesting about these stories, these rumors, right, is that whenever something happens, there's always a large group of people that come out and go, we've known this forever. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I've been listening to podcasts now for quite some time, and there has always been that Ellen conversation, right?
Yeah.
You know, the Weinstein thing. I mean,
Weinstein was like the biggest, worst kept
20
secret
years.
ever. Yeah.
20, like it was constant. We finally got to a point where I guess people started to get brave enough to take down some of these figureheads, right?
I think it's when he peeked in the plant.
Urban myths and stuff that you talk about, like, that are true. If you hear them long enough, maybe we can just say they're true. Like the Richard Gere thing, it's got to be true.
The hamster.
I have heard that that's not true, but that was Scientology.
Yeah, that's the greatest.
Because it's so is that the rumor? Is that the rumor that the Scientologists
I was an instant believer
they were pissed he left the church.
Yes.
What's that, Locke?
They were pissed he left the church, so they spread the gerbil rumor about it, right?
Makes total sense.
What about the Rod Stewart one? Like that he
drank 12 liters of cum?
Yeah, that he blew 100 sailors or something.
Yeah, dude, that just got repeated with the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all.
I remember the Backstreet Boys one.
The reason why I don't believe the Rod Stewart one is at some point you'd stop swallowing, right?
You'd think you'd get full, right?
What if your kink was
that's a lot.
Your stomach pumped from all the cum you drank? What if that
that's how they discovered it. They said was he had to have his stomach pumped, and it just all came up a big thing of man gravy, big geyser of man gravy came out of the guy's mouth.
I invited all of you here, all 77 of you here, to let you know that I have a kink. Please line up.
Geyser of man gravy.
Yeah. He's just imagine Rod Stewart with that hair, just like a.
I like
geyser.
how Ryan wanted to clarify. That's a lot, eh?
That's a lot.
Cum, eh, guys?
That's a lot of cum.
When you have to get your stomach pumped, guys, that's a lot of cum, right? Yeah.
You know.
Probably.
Okay,
maybe
for the
it could have been okay with 50.
I am not going to swallow. Everybody okay with that? Like, I think at some point you would have that
That's
conversation.
Insulting.
What was the overdose threshold?
You guys are holding your mouth open like that. It's impossible.
Gaping.
He asked for that.
God, this is such a great news podcast.
Number 2.
Ranked.
Number 2.
Well, we did inform people that 12 liters of sperm in your stomach is a lot.
It requires medical intervention.
That's
apparently.
a lot, eh?
Maybe it was milk, and someone just was like, "That looks a lot like pump. What a scoop!" And some guy ran to the payphone.
Can you imagine, like, someone hearing that story for the first time? Hey, did you hear about Rod Stewart? And that's the response.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Wow, is he okay?
That's why I was laughing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody go, that's a lot, eh?
Did we send flowers or something?
It is. It's a lot. Like when you need medical intervention.
Yeah, it's a lot of cum.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I hope he gets back on his feet.
He'll be fine.
Because he's on his knees? No? Okay.
That's my favorite urban myth, the stomach pumping urban myth. With every British rock star. Like,
it was huge in the 90s. Like everybody apparently had it in the 90s.
And if you're like, hey, did you hear George Michael left Wham? Everybody was like, because he had to get his stomach pumped. 12 years of jizz, I heard. And everybody's like, I thought that was Rod Stewart. No, it's Backstreet Boys. Oh, everybody's drinking jizz now. I don't know. It's weird.
Do you guys remember I can't remember whose bio it was, but apparently it's been confirmed by several people who were at these parties, but I don't know. This is kind of a left turn. But that Richard Pryor and Marlon Brando were like lovers.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 times.
I've heard Richard Pryor. Have you seen the I Am Pryor? Have you seen the I Am Richard Pryor documentary?
I have not.
Yeah.
No,
it's incredible. He took a walk on the man's side for a while. He was like, whatever, fuck, it's all good.
But with Brando? I didn't even know Brando was on that side.
Brando fucked
it's
everything.
okay. He had assistants to lift up his belly at that point. So
Yeah. He literally employed people to lift his gut up so he could have sex. That's how
he can
Brando
receive
was.
blowjobs. That's a total true story.
Why didn't I think of that when I was 500 pounds?
Just hire a guy.
I hired a dude.
Dude, I was probably
On
on
your
your
way-
at the time. I would have done that for
On
you.
your way back from 7-Eleven and getting a
Hey,
bag
Joe.
of Tito's.
Joe, I'm getting some tonight. Joe, you want to come by? Make $50?
Yeah,
Yeah,
bring
bring
the
the-
lifting paddle.
Bring the moving straps. I'm getting
bring
a
the
blowy
strap.
tonight, fella.
Bring the U-Haul strap.
You just get an apron and you put it horizontal instead, and you just.
I did hear an interview. I did not hear it, but I overheard that there was a interview done with I think it was Mick. It was either Mick or David Bowie, and they were talking about how many drugs they did, right? And I think one of the two of them said something like, "Listen, you do enough of the drugs we were doing, it didn't matter what the gender was, right?"
Yeah.
Because there was always that question about Mick too, and whether or not he crossed.
I don't think there was a question.
That was like, but that
You
was
ever see
back
him
in the
walk?
day when like that everybody cared. Like, you know, remember finding out Freddie Mercury was gay and then he died of AIDS, and I was like, what happened? And then, you know, now we're like, oh yeah. Hey, look, guys, like, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, it was like a big thing. It was one of those rumors that could literally destroy someone's career because we were such a fucking homophobic society.
Yeah.
Now it's like, 12.
Well, yeah, like
is.
Kevin
That's cool.
Spacey. Kevin Spacey doesn't give. I don't give a shit that he's gay. I just give a shit that he's a piece of shit, like
Yeah.
Predator.
He's grabbing kids
Yeah.
by the dink.
Yeah, but if he was just
Yeah, he
gay, it'd
was
be like
aggressive,
whatever. He's
apparently.
a great actor. You know, I've always loved Kevin Spacey as an actor, and I wouldn't have cared if he was gay. It's just the
House
fact
of
that he's a
Cards-
creepy piece of shit.
Because there was that last season, and I was trying to catch up on the
They
on
got
the last
sued. They're
season.
suing him hard for that, eh?
Oh, 100 million or something. right?
$130 million, I think. Netflix is going after him for fucking.
But I
that all up.
remember I couldn't finish House of Cards. I had to
Without
I had to
him?
wait.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Well, without him, but
He
I
was great
with
in that
him
show.
knowing what I knew, right? Like
You
after
didn't know
that, I
anything.
was just going,
Dude,
no.
I couldn't watch. I couldn't
know
watch
what? I am
last
in
season of House of
on-
Cards because he
yeah.
wasn't in it. He was fucking so good in that show, and then all of a
And-
sudden, he's
and
like,
that last
oh, yeah, he's
season
grabbing
without him-
everyone's cock on the way to work, and you're like, ah, fuck, really? He's that
Yeah,
he's a cock
dude.
grabber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I am
Yeah.
writing right with this bullet book, I am taking a bit like couple chapters, and I'm writing all about Me Too era and stuff like that, and how it was the most necessary culture shift like in our lifetimes.
Oh yeah, it had
And
to
how also it produced this cultural shift as well in how we pick up our pitchforks and torches when we read a couple articles when nothing is proven. And I fucking hate it. And I'm listening to this and I'm just like, I've read all the same stories that you guys have read. I don't know how much of it is true. I know that some people conveniently died, but I don't know that this evidence is true because I know how public relations works. And I'm not ready to just say the guy's a predator, right?
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I don't
Well,
know.
Well, let's
the other thing
can
too,
we take a
and
walk
it-
on? Go ahead, Locke, and then we'll move on real quick. Go ahead.
Well, the other thing too is, and the thing that I've heard about Spacey that makes his story a little bit more hard to chew on, right? Like that to give him a pass, if you will, if you were say going to sit down and go, all right, can we give Kevin Spacey? No, because I think there were some situations that happened where I don't necessarily think there was full consent, right? That's the sense that I get from some of the stuff that I've read about Spacey. But if you talk to anybody from that community, there is it's
I know what you're trying to
not
say.
a pattern, but it's a thing where older men and younger boys get together. And it is in that culture, it has been largely accepted. And more than a couple of gay men have come out and said that. And we can all be shocked by that. We can be bothered by it. We can convict them in our own minds, not watch their stuff if they're actors or actresses, or not listen to their music but it was a thing, and it has been a thing over the years, right?
Yeah, Bryan Singer, the same. And they're called twinks. And legal twinks are people that are of age but look younger.
Look younger,
Apparently
and
that's what a lot of
they're
them are into.
yeah, and they're attractive to the older gay, crowd, right? So
Yeah.
again, it might not make a lot. I've heard more than a couple of guys come out and say that's what's happening here. And the Me Too movement, when it started to move into that area of like the Kevin Spacey kind of conversation, that's when it started to come out. And they were like, you know what? that's just the way things are, right?
Yeah, it's what happens. Yeah,
it's what happens.
It's customary in Hollywood for old dudes to abuse young men. Case in point, here's Spacey in Czechoslovakia a couple years ago, just shit-piled, trying to pull the dude's pants off.
Well, that's the thing that everyone's saying about Spacey.
I don't know what's happening.
He was aggressive, and
I know what's happening there.
Is he in the hospital giving birth? What's going on?
He's trying to do it. He was trying to spank. He's trying to spank a kid.
Yeah, the middle of this guy's hoop is very red too. It looks like he's been spanked a couple times. But that's Kevin Spacey.
Oh, that's somebody's ass.
Yeah, that's some guy's ass. Yeah. Yeah, it's in a club. It's in a bar. He's wasted. Some guy jumps. He's like, grab the guy's ass. Let's have a look at his bung piece.
I think there's enough circumstantial evidence out there to suggest that everything that we've been hearing about Kevin Spacey is probably true, right?
No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Last but not least, speaking of things that might not be true,
it's a rough show.
Evander Kane. Yesterday, who we talked to about at length, we were like, hey, do you think he meant his apology when he didn't really apologize after serving 21 games suspension for the San Jose Sharks? Like, do you think he was sorry? And we're like, to a man, we're like, not really.
We need Bonzi back for this segment.
Yeah, we really do. So his wife, or future ex-wife, her name is Anna Kane. As you know, they're going through a very contentious divorce, and she's just uploading terrible fucking evidence or like bullshit after. Basically, what she just uploaded was a video of Evander Kane walking away from her with what she says is a loaded gun and pointing that gun at her back in 2020. Here's the video. You can watch yourself. Now, before everybody freaks out, well, hang on. Before everybody freaks out, number one, we don't know if that gun was loaded. Number two, we don't know if it was a real gun. Number three,
we're sure
she put that out. Yep, after he put that out, Evander Kane's lawyers released this. They said earlier today, Evander Kane and Dina Kane appeared, his mom, in court on emergency custody issues stemming from Ms. Kane's months-long falsification of a pregnancy, physically and with written and oral lies to Evander, the court, and the public at large, mental issues and the effects. She's basically saying, hey, she's fucked. We need her to go under psychiatric evaluation. Miss Kane's response was to immediately violate several times over earlier court orders prohibiting social media posts about the other party and resuming her prior tactic to defame Evander in the public eye. She posts videos taken intentionally but out of context from a professional photo shoot. Both parties participated back in 2020. So basically what Evander Kane's lawyers are saying about that video is no. That was a photo shoot. That's what the gun was for. That was all in jest, and she knows that. And Evander Kane is once again under scrutiny by the NHL, who are investigating that video, and the San Jose Sharks are also investigating him again. This is his fourth internal investigation for doing a number of dumb things.
Where's the photos from the photo shoot? Let's see the photos. Let's see what he was doing.
What was it a photo shoot for?
That's what I mean. What are we photo shooting with a gun for?
Us magazine?
Yeah. Was it good housekeeping? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Honey, the photographer will be here in an hour. Can you go and get my loaded weapon for the photo shoot?
Chatelaine will be here soon.
So it would be really rare, though, for a law firm to make a claim like that in a written letter and it not be true. So whatever the photo shoot was for, could have been cologne. Who knows, right? But Evander Kane,
Wouldn't the first piece of evidence you would put forward would be the fucking photos from the photo shoot?
To you and to me? Why would they? Why? Who cares? So what happened was that she put out the video, they put out the letter, right? And now it's still in court. So they're not. They've asked her. The court, I think, has requested that she doesn't or whatever put out any social media posts. They're probably wanting to keep things like that as well. They gave that explanation. He's an easy target. I for one am really surprised that a young, cocky, arrogant guy would actually.
You know what? I think Evander Kane's a fucking saint.
I was still talking. So I'm really surprised that some cocky, arrogant piece of shit would fall in love with someone who's completely batshit and dishonest.
You know what?
Right?
You know what? That's where I think we can bridge the gap between you defending Evander Kane and us knowing that he's a dick. The thing is, I think the two of them are clearly, they were probably made for each other. And there are, you know what? Listen, he is clearly not right, and he's got a lot of issues. That is fairly obvious based on what we do know. So who's going to marry him? You know, Mary Poppins? Probably not. She's probably a bit of a loose cannon herself. So yeah, I will agree with that. But the whole Evander Kane thing and yeah, this just everything that happens almost every day just reaffirms. I don't know. I thought he is a dick when you got canceled, right from day one.
When you got canceled, there was a person, I won't name him right now, and a company that was literally in charge of destroying you. And I'm just saying, guys, we need to be agnostic sometimes. We need to sometimes say that the cocky asshole, not you, Dean, but Evander Kane.
Jamie Watt.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. Yeah. But we need to say sometimes that the cocky asshole Evander Kane might not be guilty of literally every fucking story that comes out. We need to at least start being normal people and just be take it on. I gotta
tell you, I'm not ready to make that assertion yet.
No, not at all.
And I'll tell you why. Because every time I've heard anything about Evander Kane, it's been fucking terrible. Everything. And to your point, you're probably right. And she's probably there's a reason why she chose the very day that Evander Kane was off of his 21-game suspension for handing in a COVID vaccine certificate. Totally agree with you, James. This is fucking playing out a divorce. She's fucking batshit nuts. And to your point, they fucking deserve each other. It's like, you got two people who aren't serious, who were given a lot of money, given a fucking without having to really do much, and their children. These guys are fucking kids, and they're the daughter. I can't remember fucking poor little girl's name. She's watching her fucking paternal father and maternal mother accuse each other of on social media, and it's going to exist for fucking ever. I mean, they're both morons,
that's sad. Yeah.
But you can't, in the climate that we live in, you can't, and with conditional probability being what it is, and Evander Kane's incredible fucking history of doing the dumbest shit all the fucking time and then lying about it, I'm apt to believe her still. But at the same time, she violated a court order, wasn't supposed to put it up because her whole goal is to fuck him over.
Didn't they already clear him
over? But still, it's fucking
Did the
bizarre.
NHL ever clear him of betting on
gambling,
NHL games?
Yes, they did. They said they didn't have
so
enough
she has
evidence.
a history too, right? She has a history of bullshitting
totally.
Too.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. It's fucking awesome, though.
Well, I think what they cleared him of was they said they didn't have enough evidence to show that he might have fixed a game. That they never did say, oh no, he never did bet on hockey. I mean, he clearly bet on everything. He's $50 million in debt, and he owes some money to some really serious people too. Is the rumor?
He does.
So he might end
bets on cockfighting, internationally.
But they did clear him of that. But that's also again, I wonder how much of that is the NHL
going themselves.
You know what?
Yep.
Can we just sweep this one get this one out of the way really quickly, and then hopefully this kid learns his lesson?
I talked to a couple people at the NHL, and I talked to someone that's involved in the San Jose Sharks organization. I like to do that work. Before we go to air. And the guy at the NHL told me, he goes, we're looking for ways, man. This guy has 12 lives, right? It's just same thing with the San Jose Sharks. They're like, we can't have him back with this group. It is just consistent front page negative bullshit that surrounds him. And it doesn't matter really what his wife did, right? What matters is that every time I turn around, I hear a story about Evander Kane doing something absolutely fucking childish and stupid, which reflects terribly on him, his family, and the organization, and the league. Because the league's had fucking this is his fourth investigation in the last 8 months. League and club investigation into his actions. So it's fucking awesome.
In under a year. Fuck.
Yeah. 8 months.
But two of those are probably lies, though. That's the thing.
We don't know.
You should get him on the Blackball podcast so he can defend himself.
There you go.
Him and his lawyer whispering.
Send him a note.
Not a bad idea. Anyway, Before we go, I just want to play this one thing for you two boys. This is a kid's Christmas concert. We've all been there. I have kids. I've been to several of these. They all suck harder than the next one that you go to if you're an adult. You're hot. You might have had a couple of drinks before you went with your friends at the pub.
I've never been to one sober.
Yeah, me neither.
So this will be interesting. I haven't had a drink yet today.
Anyway, this is beautiful. And at the end of it, they decided to light off some sparklers. But man, did it get fucking heavy. This is awesome.
Oh, fuck me. Where was this?
Florida.
Yeah,
They left the wrong guy in charge of fireworks.
Florida man in charge of fireworks.
Who let Pedro do the fireworks this year? Come on.
Holy fuck.
They're like, hey, just put some fireworks at the end for the kids at the end of the show. And they're like, are these good inside? They're like, I think so. Go ahead and do it. And guess what happens?
Dude, look at that. Oh my god. Oh my god. Look how everybody's still just sitting there. They're just sitting there. Like,
very lifelike.
I have a very quick fireworks story.
Oh, that's like something out of Russia.
Years ago, I used to party with this guy, Terry Zimmerman. And Terry had these parties. It's called Zimmerfests every year. And it was the same weekend every summer. And one year we showed up and we're getting drinks in us. And there was always 20, 30, 40, 50 people at his. He lived out in an acreage. And he had a plan one year to get somebody to put a fireworks helmet on. So he built a helmet, like a hat, like a hard hat, and put fireworks all the way around it. And he said, when we got there, he said, somebody's putting that on tonight. We're going to light that off. And no one would step up. And I stepped up because I am the guy that needs to do this. Okay. So at about midnight, when no one else would do it, I put that damn hat on. I still have a jacket that I was wearing when it got lit off, and there's burn marks all over it. But he lit it, and he had it set up so that it was a one wick thing. Yeah. And I was hanging on to that helmet and standing in the middle of the yard, and all the fireworks were going off. And I remember thinking to myself, there was a lot of pressure on my head. Like, it was violent. And there's still video. If I dig deep enough, I could probably find the video. But it was spectacular. And I remember thinking afterwards, when I got up the next morning going, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life.
I have some thoughts. You ever notice when people have parties that are like annual parties that are named after themselves? They're usually the most degenerate fucking people you've ever met in your life.
Zimmerman was not a degenerate, but he's crazy.
Ford Fest.
You mean like Michael Weckerly's Weckfest?
Yeah, well, I was going to say like
with Michael Weckerly. He's a degenerate.
Ford Fest and like things like, but I mean, degenerate. I knew a guy and he was a cop. He's no longer a cop now. And previous life things I used to do for work. He used to have a blank fest every fucking year, and it was cops, firefighters, paramedics, and you would be
crazy.
And they're, oh my god, this is what I mean. So you'd show up at this field, and it'd be a corn boil and a fucking pig roast and everything else, bands playing, booze everywhere, and you'd be standing there, and you'd have your drink in your hand, and then all of a sudden your arm would just go dead. There's fucking paramedics walking around with xylocaine and they're jamming it in the arms of fucking people as a joke to watch their arm go dead. And then you're sitting there for fucking hours. You can't use your arm. Like, what the fuck? And it was a party named after a guy. Like, it was his name fest. Anything that's named fest, I will not fucking go to anymore because it's somebody is a fucking lunatic.
It's a good rule.
And they have to go next level every fucking year. Every year. Next year, we're going to shoot someone in the fucking skull. It's going to be great. You know, like, put this vest on. We're going to shoot you with a 44. You know, like,
We're going to hunt
We have
homeless guys this
men
year.
standing on stage right now when we put a potato in their bums 24 hours ago. And now we're going to see which one's ready.
Brad Hopperfest, like I'm not doing these fucking fests anymore. So as soon as you said it's Terry Fest or whatever the fuck is Zimmer Fest, I'm like, here we go. It's going to be something fucking stupid.
It was nuts. Yeah.
That's so
he had
funny.
a urinal. We cut the urinal out of the old Winnipeg arena. When they were tearing it down, I phoned the company that owned the building, and I said, "Can I have the urinal?" Because it was famous.
Yeah.
And so we went down there and we cut big chunks of the urinal out, and then we plumbed them so that they were self-contained. I think we had like 5 or 6 of them, and then we raffled them off for charity. We made, I think, $15,000. We got national news about it, but he kept a section of it, and that was the one thing I always remember about Zimmerfest. Every year after they tore that building down, Zimmerfest, he always brought that urinal out and stood it up against a tree, and guys were peeing in it. Like, it was exactly what you're saying, Ryan.
So funny.
Yeah.
I know.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, Bonzi Fest, that's what we need.
Bonzi Fest is next. Yeah, when he gets back to Canada, look the fuck out.
No, we don't. We don't need Bonzi Fest.
We just had it for about 6 months, didn't we?
It's right. We've watched Bonzi Fest for the last 6 months. You're right, James.
It's true. We don't need it. Anyway, good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks for coming today. It was fun. Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM at Edmonton's where you can find him. At Lachlan Cross on Twitter, James DeFiore, at James DeFiore on Twitter. Blackball the podcast, and I think December 9th is his big Noam Chomsky interview. Is that still happening?
Yeah,
you
1
Noam?
week from today, Noam Chomsky.
You and Noam Chomsky.
Probably the last time
the
I interviewed
cage
him.
match.
He's 768
I was going to say, he's still upright and retaining fluids. You're good?
But barely, because the last time I had a previous one, this was scheduled for a couple months ago, and he was like, "I have health concerns." So I was like,
So
okay.
you're like,
"It's funny because
yourself.
he's always the guy that answers. He doesn't have assistants. He doesn't go online. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't have a Twitter account. Doesn't have any social media or anything. So I don't know if I
when the carrier pigeon arrives,
we've been emailing for like, I don't know, 18 months or something. We just have this one email thread, and it's got a bunch of like 100 fucking emails or whatever. But at the beginning, I was like, why is this guy? I didn't clue in right away. I was like, why is this guy responding in like 28-point font? And I'm like, oh, right. He's Yoda. He's like 1,000 years old. So I started responding in like 25 font. So I always know, like, when I open an email and I have my contacts in or whatever, I'm like, oh, there's Chomsky. I can tell because the letters are this big.
One word a line. Right?
the neighbors are reading it for you.
Ryan just got a phone like that because he's on old guy medication now because he had blood clots. He's got a phone that's literally each number is a foot wide.
You want to see something funny? I just had that little rant.
Get your free helmet.
I had that little rant about Zimmerfest there, and look, my heart rate is up, and my oxygen is down. I need to stop. Stop.
Yeah, we're gonna.
You need a rascal. You need one of those scooters.
I know.
That'll keep your heart rate down.
Or one of those chairs that sits you up. Like that's.
I saw that picture that you had, the one that throws you out.
Right. Yeah. It's like a recliner, but the recliner lifts up from the bottom so that you don't have to stand up. You just kind of lean forward and you're like, oh, I'm fucking standing. That's what you need. Yeah.
Is that a no on the twin?
Great to see you guys. Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd Podcast, James DeFiore, Lachlan Cross. Thanks, boys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right.
Take care, guys.
See you later. That's James. That's Locke. And that's over. God, these fireworks were incredible. Yeah, just don't do indoor fireworks after your kid's Christmas concert indoors. But props to the lady with the camera. She fucking nailed it. She didn't get scared once. She didn't bail. She didn't go run for the exits. She stayed there for that content. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial, easyautofinancial.ca. Go there today if you're looking for a car and financing. They've got everything. It's all turnkey, super easy to do. easyautofinancial.ca. Bad credit, no credit, they don't care. They're going to put you in touch with the car, get you the financing, no obligation, doesn't cost you a thing. easyautofinancial.ca. Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch. He's got Gitch. You need to buy them, GITCH, and then the number 3. That is your promo code. Ed's Fine Imports, clothing for men and boys. They've got everything, but their Gitch is incredible. Their clothing selection's unbelievable, and they've got a massive online shop as well. So go there today, edsfineimports.com. Again, Gitch 3 is your promo code. Want a free pair of Gitch? I'll send them to you when you buy 3 or more. Promo code Gitch 3. And last but not least, Domination, domination.com, dmntn.com. It's AI for people that produce content. Super easy to use, easy to do. Saves you about, 5 hours a day in editing, too. So check them out today. Go to dmntn.com. Again, dmntn.com. That's it for me. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Sign up for a newsletter, deanblundell.com. Thanks, bye.